Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem.
Kelly, I'm so proud of you.
You're proud of me?
I am.
Why?
Because you figured out how to send me that video earlier, almost all by yourself.
I did. I really did.
And I am so proud of you.
Well, you asked me to do one thing, and I said, well, I could if I knew how to do that. And then you asked me to do the second thing, and I was like, well, I could if I knew how to do that. But let me look. And I did it.
You did it. I thought I was going to have to send you a whole video with screenshots and a walkthrough on how to create a shared album on an iPhone. And you just went and did it pretty quickly, might I add.
So this is what I need from you.
Okay.
When you ask me to do something that I've never done before and I don't know how to do, I will panic. Okay. Internally, I panic because my brain is like, oh my God, you're so stupid. You're too old. You don't know how to do anything. And then I panic, and it paralyzes me. So what I need is for you to say, hey, take a deep breath, go look at it.
Okay.
Just look at it and see if it makes sense to you. If it doesn't, feel free to ask me any questions.
Okay. I can try to do that if my brain remembers it.
Yeah. What I did today was like, well, I guess I should at least look at this thing.
Yeah. It's pretty
easy. And then when I looked at it, yeah, I was like, oh, you just hit this and then do this and then it's done.
Yeah. So I was just proud of you that you did that, though. I was
Thank you.
Like getting ready to send a screenshot and do the whole thing. And then you were like, I did it. And I was like, whoa, you did it.
Like a big girl.
Well, let me just make a blanket statement. When I ask you to do something, don't panic.
That's not going to work. Okay. You need to tell me in the moment.
I'm going to try to remember, but just have that little voice in the back of your head as well. If I forget to say, Jen told me not to panic.
Sweetie, do you know how many years and how much abuse went through putting those tapes in my head?
I know. Well, I'm trying to put the new tape in your head of my voice saying, hey, Kelly, don't panic. Jen loves you, and she's not going to get mad at you if you don't know how to do this.
You stupid idiot. That's what you need to follow it up with.
Sure. You can throw that in there if it makes you feel better.
All right. So I do have a question for you today.
Well, you forgot to welcome everybody to our scripted, unscripted banter.
Oh, well, welcome everybody to scripted, unscripted banter.
Welcome. What's my question?
Well, I was thinking today, since we are doing a Paranormal Postcards episode, how kind it is that people send these in to us.
So kind.
And how much we love it. So I wanted to know, what is the kindest thing someone has done for you in the last year?
You and everything.
Oh,
everything. You've done so much kind stuff for me in the last year. I think my favorite was when you came out to visit the first time and you had that super cute backpack purse. And I told you how much I liked it. And then you said, oh, they have like this pumpkin one on Amazon that I really want to get. And you sent it to me and I looked at it and I was like, it was right after I just got laid off. And I was like, oh, I'm going to save it in my cart for, when I can spend money again. And you left and I dropped you off at the airport. And I think like a day later, it might have even been the same day. I don't remember.
I think I was at the airport.
It might have been the same day. And I got a package and I'm like, I didn't order anything. How did I get a freaking package? And I go to get my package and it's that purse. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I have used that purse every single day. Well, I don't leave the house, but that is my purse. When I do leave the house, that is my purse since July when you came to visit.
Well, that was sweet. I wasn't expecting the answer to be me, but you are worth it. Aww. You're worth all the love and kindness.
Then I can go on. There's so many more. The time that my internet was out just a couple of weeks ago, and I told you that I just finished listening to my last audiobook, and I didn't have anything else to do now because my internet was out, and I had to wait for my credit to reset. And you Venmo'd me $30 to go buy a new audiobook.
Well, I know what it's like when your internet is out.
It's so boring.
And there's nothing to do.
No. But so thank you. There's a whole list. Like we could do a whole episode on just the kind things Kelly has done for me.
Oh, stop. Listen, you are worth everything that I've ever done.
Well, thank you. I'm so lucky to have such a great friend like you.
Oh, that was very sweet. Thank you. I'm lucky to have a friend like you.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too. Now that we're done making love to each other on the podcast, I was thinking for me, so there was a couple months ago, I was like really, 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 really depressed.
Fair enough.
And I had told my friend Annalie that I was just really like struggling with depression. And I was upstairs laying in bed in the doomed depression. And she messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm at your front door." And I climbed out of bed, no bra, just like sweatpants and a t-shirt.
As one does.
And I went downstairs and I opened the door and she was like, "Hi, can I come in?" And I was like, sure. So I let her in and she takes off her shoes and she goes and she sits down in the living room. And I walk in the living room and I was like, "What are we doing?" And she said, "Nothing." And I was like, what do you mean nothing?" And she said, "Just sit down." So I sat down and I was like, "What are we doing?" She said, "Oh, I just thought I'd sit with you while you're sad."
Aww.
She said, "We can talk if you want to, but we don't have to. We can watch TV if you want to, but we don't have to. We can just sit here and be sad together." And I was like, I didn't realize how, like, that helped so much. Just having someone come over and be like, "Hey, you're sad. I see you.
I'll be sad
I'm
with
going to
you."
sit here with you.
That makes me miss all the times that we were sad together when I used to live there, or just also hung out. We weren't always sad. We had happy times too.
A lot of happy times. A lot of drunk times.
Yeah, I used to come over, drink wine and color a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as we would watch some type of trash TV that you had on TV.
Yeah.
It was great.
Sometimes Doctor Who, sometimes just trashy reality TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were good times.
Okay, so beyond that, I have a funny story to tell you.
Please do. I love funny stories.
I was talking to my friend Rob today.
Okay.
Rob is a new listener to the podcast.
Hi, Rob.
And Rob is a lot like I am. And he said, I had to go back and listen from the beginning because I cannot start in the middle of a movie. I'm like, no, I get it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to do it that way because you learn the references and the relationship.
And let's face it, we don't have that many episodes yet, that's pretty easy to catch up on.
True. So early on in one of our episodes, we were talking about, or I was talking about a staircase. And I said, it's one of those staircases where you walk up a couple steps and there's a platform and then you turn and walk up other steps, like, you know, the other way.
Yeah.
And you said platform?
A landing.
You said, I think you're looking for landing, right? So that's just a reference from the podcast. So Rob calls me today. Rob is the husband of my friend Heather, who unfortunately lost her mother in January. So I was checking in with them to see how they're doing. And Rob called and he said, I have to say something to you. And I was like, okay. And I was a little nervous at first. And then he said, it's a landing, not a platform. Rob. If you get hysterical about it, I'm sending you to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum with Robert the Doll as your roommate, and you're only allowed to drink the cheap bourbon.
Oh, I love that. Rob, you're the best.
I was like, that is so cool. That was so funny.
I love that.
Yeah, and I told him, like, listen, if you put me in Trans-Allegheny, you better get me out, because if you don't, then I just die there. I just thought that was really sweet that he's been listening. And that was just really
enough
funny.
To be able to make all those references and make them well. Yeah.
Right. I know.
I love it.
I thought so
welcome,
too.
Rob. I'm glad you're listening and enjoying, hopefully. I would assume you're enjoying if you're still listening.
Rob said he is enjoying
Okay,
this.
Good. Has he rated us yet?
I'm not sure.
Rob, go rate us 5 stars.
5 stars.
Please and thank you.
His wife also listens, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
We love her too.
Yes. We love all the people.
I've known Heather since 7th grade.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have any friends from that long ago. I mean, I have my one friend, Teresa, who we don't really talk anymore, but like nothing happened. We just kind of grew apart. I moved. But before I had moved, we kind of had reconnected and hung out a couple times. But then, yeah, I moved. So
yeah, you have a tendency to do that.
Move? I've only done it once.
Away from your friends.
Oh, yeah, I did do that. I'm sorry. Sorry.
To Florida.
I know. Are we ready for Paranormal Postcards?
I'm ready for Paranormal Postcards.
I'm ready as well.
All right.
Do you want to go first?
I will go first.
Since we bullied Kevin into sending us his story.
We did. Kevin is one of our OG3 patrons.
Yeah.
And during our Patreon live that we had, we bullied Kevin and told him he better send us a story or we were going to call him out. And then he did.
Told us he grew up in a haunted house. And I'm like, how have we not heard this before, Kevin?
Right. So we told him if he didn't send it to us, we were going to call him out. He did send us one and we did call him out, but in a positive way.
We did. We thanked him. So we're going to read his episode first, or his story first.
Yep. All righty. Kevin says, I grew up in a haunted house in New Jersey and was constantly seeing shadow people, hearing people talk, and hearing phantom footsteps. Same.
Sounds familiar.
I didn't grow up in the house, but I lived in one. I also used to camp on the Appalachian Trail regularly and have some weird encounters there as well.
We'll send them to us.
You told me. Yeah, you have to, because Jen promised me an episode about the Appalachian Mountains. So,
Kevin, if you send us your weird Appalachian Mountain stories, then I will do a whole episode on it and include your stories in that episode.
That would be awesome. Side note, I also used to stay at what everyone knows now as Camp Crystal Lake from Friday the 13th, as it was shot at the Boy Scout camp in New Jersey. That's
amazing. I love that.
I'll save those stories for another day and tell you the story of my mom's experience with tarot cards.
Okay.
There was a German park behind the house I grew up in, and they always did a big Oktoberfest event with tons of food and music, as well as a few psychics. I had always heard the warning that you were never supposed to buy your first deck yourself and that it needed to be gifted to you. Kevin, we have a problem because I just bought my first deck.
It's not a requirement. I bought my first deck too.
Okay.
You bought a deck, Kelly?
I did.
That's exciting.
I'll tell you about it after I finish Kevin's story.
Yeah, go ahead.
My mom did too, but didn't really believe anything bad would happen. So after her reading, she and her friend both bought tarot decks for themselves. They should have just switched them.
Yeah.
The following week, my mom lost her job, and her friend that was with her and bought a deck as well was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my God.
Both of them got a bit freaked out, understandably, and decided to get rid of the decks to prevent any more misfortune. They drove to the dumpster behind the local store and both threw their decks away there. The following day, the store they threw the decks away at burned to the ground. Oh my gosh. After that, everything kind of settled. I've heard from other people that it's not a thing and they bought their own first deck. But for me, I'm not willing to risk it.
Yeah, that's
Stay
fair.
safe and have your first deck gifted to you. And then he says, thank you for helping me get through the workday, and I'll send more stories soon. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. Please send us all the stories.
Yes, please.
I've bought all my tarot decks. I have not had anyone gift them to me. And I have not. Well, my life is kind of a tragedy, so maybe that's when it started. I don't know. It's hard to keep track.
So I was on TikTok, and there is a trans creator that was taking hate comments that they get and making video responses to them, and then also running an ad for a company, a queer-owned company that makes this tarot card deck called Territorial, and it is a tutorial deck. Okay. So it shows you like how to lay them out for different things that you're reading for. I literally know nothing about tarot, but then each card has, if you flip it the right side up, it tells you like what the card is and what it represents.
Right.
And then if it's upside down, it tells you what it represents. So you can, as you do it, you learn to read
start
tarot.
To learn more.
And I just thought it would be interesting to maybe learn, but also support a queer-owned business.
Yeah.
So I got
I love
myself a
that.
deck. So I'm not counting this as a real tarot deck. This is a learning tarot card deck.
That's fair. Mine was
And
not.
then
Mine was my deck.
I'll let you gift me a real deck after I learn.
I can do that.
That's wild, though.
Yeah, I have definitely heard that. And I was super nervous when I went to buy my first one. And then I had another friend who was really into it said that it wasn't a big deal and you could buy your own. So, okay. Our next story is from Katrona. Thanks, Katrona. She's like majority in our inbox right now of our stories. So you're going to hear a lot from her.
Yes, Katrona, also one of our OG3 patrons.
Yes. So this story is titled Joffrey, the Ghost in the Kiddo's Sandpit.
Okay.
As requested, here is the story of Joffrey. I think she mentioned it one day in our either in another episode or another story or on our Discord. I don't remember.
And if I remember correctly, Katrona's son was the one that saw something in St. Augustine.
Yes, was making the motions of like having the throat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
When Kiddo was almost 2, we moved into our first house with an actual yard. So he would spend a lot of time outside as we were blessed with a good chunk of nice weather here, and our yard was relatively shady compared to a lot of land and yards in Florida. That is very blessed because you don't always get that.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of area where the grass could not beat the sandy soil we have here, so I would let him play there. He was at the point, probably about 4 or so, where I would let him play in the sandpit for a while without direct supervision. I'd be puttering about in the garden or painting the house or something, and he'd be on my periphery. And one day he was very clearly having a conversation with someone while he was playing. So I brought this up after my now ex-husband came home from work and we were having dinner. Here's an approximation of the conversation and slight trigger warning because it involves talk of child abuse and unaliving. Me, softly, I think Kiddo, I'm sure she said his name, has an imaginary friend. X, are you sure? He is your kid. Me, giving him a seriously look. X, Kiddo, who were you playing with today? Kiddo, Joffrey. The adults exchanged a slightly confused series of looks because we have no idea where he came up with that name. Me, Joffrey? Kiddo. Uh-huh. He wants to hide from his dad because he hurted him. X. Oh? Kiddo. Yeah, he's in a hole now because his head got hurted. I love hurted. I love hurted
so much.
It's so cute. X, mouthing, told you. Me. Okay, well, that's nice that you're playing with him, Munchkin. Let me know if he gets mean, okay? And I saned up and put more wards on the interior of the house that night. Kiddo is almost out of high school now, and he says he's seen other things, but just kind of ignores it, which is fair. I don't pressure him about any of it, but have him participate when I cleanse the house and do other things so he knows how to protect himself. My time living in St. Augustine would probably have been a lot easier if I had those tools. Keep up the good work, ladies. And then she said, I don't know if I should say this, and I'll withhold part of it, but my fiance remarked the other day that he likes it when he listens to us more than another podcast that they listen to because we are more analytical with our research. Have a lovely day, night, afternoon, whenever you're reading this.
Well, that was very nice. Thank you, Katrona's fiance.
Yes, we try to be analytical with our research.
We do?
Yeah.
That was great.
That was. I love ghosts that only kids can see.
Yes and no. It can be unnerving when you don't know what your child is actually experiencing.
That's true. Well, I don't have kids, so I'm just saying I love hearing about it.
Oh, well, yeah. All righty. Well, we have another one. Would you like to hear it? It's from Birdie.
Of course I want to hear it.
We have shared some of Birdie's stories before. All right. Birdie says, hey, ladies, it's Birdie again with another haunted vessel tale. I like these.
I love haunted vessel tales.
So remember the time I told you about the drunken purchase of the Hellhound vessel? Yes, we do.
How could we forget, Birdie?
Well, I may or may not have definitely did get more companions. One of them is a baby dragon that was sent to me through my soul twin's companion. Yes, I get her haunted as well.
I love it.
That's pretty cool.
And by the way, Birdie sends these companions to us sometimes to just come hang out. So we're going to have her on an episode about these types of creatures that most people assume are mythical. But Birdie has some additional knowledge about them. So we're going to hear it from the expert.
Well, within the first week of getting him, we'll call him Tiny. I could see him flitting by throughout the day out of the corner of my eye. I could also feel him sitting on my shoulder and occasionally playing with or rustling through my hair. So stinking cute.
Oh.
So the Wednesday after he came home, my wife had acquired borderline stole or some sorry-looking plants from one of her coworkers.
Love that.
When we got home, she went about repotting her new plant, and she realized that the seed packets that she had gotten in the mail the day before and had placed on the dining room table was missing. The following conversation went like this. We're just going to call her S.
Okay.
Because that's how she has this person listed as. S. Babe, did you move my seeds from the dining room table? Me. No, I don't ever mess with your seeds. S. Well, I didn't move them. Me. Did you maybe put them in the pot where you keep your seeds? S. No, I haven't had a chance. I just got them. We both then proceed to search the whole dining room, all the usual places she stores her gardening things, the whole kitchen, nothing. S. Ugh, maybe one of the animals got them. We do have 8, remember. Me. Or maybe it's one of the spirits. S. Well, tell them to give it back. That's not nice. Me. I mean, I can try, but I'm not sure that's how it works. I then leave some gifts for my spirit friends in their spirit space, a small table that I dedicate to them. It is also in the dining room, about a step from the dining room table, and ask them to please return the seeds if they took them. And if they didn't take them, to tell us where they are. And guess what happened?
The seeds got returned.
Not a damn thing.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping they would listen.
My wife goes about finishing repotting her new plants and starts to clean up. She clears off the dining room table. The seeds still aren't there. She can see the whole thing now. As she goes back to the kitchen to wash up, she remembers the loose change she had taken out of her pocket that evening and put it on the counter. She takes up the loose change and brings it to the spirit space in the dining room. She then turns around to walk out of the room, and there, in the middle of the dining room table is, you guessed it, the seed packets.
Oh, God.
She literally had to pay for her seeds twice. What did we learn from this encounter? When in doubt, throw money at it or something like that.
I love it.
Anyway, thought you would enjoy. Have a great week. Birdie, that was great.
Great story, as always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
We're definitely going to have Birdie on as a special guest at some point in the near future, because she has so much to share. Birdie is fascinating. She is. This is the stuff that she knows. Yeah. It's so fantastic. Cool. Yeah. We love her. We do. Okay. I have another story from Katrona. That's funny. I have another story from Katrona. Do you? Yeah, but you go first because I just went. Perfect. This one is titled, How My Dead Grandfather Helped Protect Me from My Ex's Possessive Soul Fragment. Okay. That is quite the title for an email. The title. Hello again, ladies. I thought I would send this in a separate email, given the topic is a bit strange. Small background information. I'm the one whose granddad had a spooky experience at the Scottish castle that I spoke about in one of the campfire stories, which is something that Two Girls, One Ghost does on their podcast. And this is the same grandfather. Before he died, he visited me in my dream, December 2000. He wished me goodbye and apologized he wouldn't make it to my graduation. Which was supposed to be in May 2002, but actually wound up being in December 2001. So just a year after he died. That sucks. He was right. He died in January 2001, and I was traveling from St. Augustine to England for his funeral, which showed me how controlling my ex, we'll call her Zoe, was, and that I needed to break up with her. She and I had been on and off throughout college and worked with witchy things together and were very wrapped up in our past lives. Zoe was on a quest to prove that the two of us had been in love in every life we had ever had and would get insanely jealous if I breathed next to another human being. This was the early days of cell phones, so she may have premiered stalking via cell phone. Anyway, I was 4,000 miles away from my granddad's funeral and still wanted to ask her permission to go out with my friend to a pub. Red flag.
Yeah.
Very, very much, very toxic. This realization broke me, but also broke her control of me. Sometimes that's what you need. Something to just spark that. I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah.
The actual breakup did not go well. It never does. I moved to the couch from the bedroom because neither of us could afford to break the lease and would wake up in the middle of the night to her kneeling next to me, watching me sleep among other things. No. No.
Nope. No, thank you. No, ma'am.
No. So when I broke up with my ex, I had to stay in the house for 2 weeks, and he was kind enough to move to the guest room and let me continue to stay in our main room until I left 2 weeks later.
That was nice of him.
It was very nice. And I never woke up to him staring at me in the middle of the night.
Which is good.
Yeah, it was a very, very good thing because that would have been weird. I don't like that.
No.
While I was packing my stuff for my actual move out, she asked me to unalive her with one of our kitchen knives because she wanted to be unalived. But if she did it herself, she would go to hell and we would never reincarnate together to be in love again. When I refused, she howled, screamed, and practically rended her clothes before locking herself in the bedroom. It was peak lesbian drama. Thank you so much for taking that incredibly, I don't even know, awful paragraph of craziness and making us laugh somehow because...
Yes.
Love that.
Oh my goodness. Because if you could have seen the look I was given to Jen when...
I had some looks on myself as I was reading it. Jeez.
It's like, holy crap.
Woo. Okay. Fast forward to 2005. I'm married, pregnant, and taking hypnotherapy classes to learn how to help people lose weight. Did you learn?
Did you?
Did you? Can you help us?
Please?
Please, and thank you.
Are you holding back on us?
Are you holding back Katrona?
What the fuck, Katrona?
Did you finish these classes?
Seriously, let us know.
Yeah, come on. I could use some hypnotherapy to lose some weight. I need something. To learn how to help people lose weight, quit smoking, and find out about their past lives. I want the lose weight and the past lives. I don't need to quit smoking because I don't smoke.
Same. I quit smoking 14 years ago, so I'm good.
So you're good on that. So yeah, let us know. Naturally, our professor would take guinea pigs from the students in classes to demonstrate certain techniques. I'm assuming you mean use the students as guinea pigs, not actual guinea pigs, because
I want to see actual guinea pigs get hypnotized.
Not
I do.
How to lose weight. They like to eat. Guinea pigs are supposed to be chubsters.
Maybe not. It's fine. I just want to see them. I want to see if you can hypnotize a guinea pig to act like a chicken. That would be peak.
That would be great.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And I was the lucky one this time around. So yeah, not actual guinea pigs. But still,
well, damn.
It stands. Some of this part I only know because of the recounting of my classmates during lunch. Instead of going to a past life, I began channeling my grandfather. He told everyone he was there because she wouldn't leave me alone. My teacher apparently took this all in stride and asked John, as he had been introduced to my grandfather, to let her explain herself and suggested he focus on protecting my unborn son while this was going on. Zoe came through, and my voice apparently changed from a soft, tense Scottish brogue to a more petulant and angry American accent. My teacher asked her why she was there, and she told him I was hers and wouldn't survive without her. Fuck that.
I don't even know what to say.
No, I don't like that at all.
Terrifying.
My teacher got her to agree that that wasn't true, and she knew it. And he and my classmates essentially exorcised her from my body and mind.
Wow.
Granddad said he would still visit and also left. I like to picture him chasing her soul shard all the way back to Texas. My teacher told me Zoe might sense something was wrong and reach out to try to regain connection. Sure enough, a couple of weeks later, she emailed me about some bullshit, asking me some random fan fiction we wrote together, and if I would be willing to make a website for her brother's band, while completely unsubtly trying to find out what I was up to and how life was going. I discovered when morbidly going to her website, she had made a little shrine page to me and left a message about how if my then husband ever mistreated me, she would be there to pick up the pieces. This bitch is crazy.
Holy shit. Katrona, I'd just like to say that I am so happy. I am so happy that you are not with this person.
Me too. Needless to say, when my husband and I broke up, I did not go crawling all the way back to Texas for comfort. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. In better news, Granddad does come by to visit me from time to time, and I'm the only one who can make his curry recipe and have it taste right. So I think his hand from beyond the grave has something to do with that. My son, who is my miracle baby and will be my only child, and is the one who was talking to ghosts when we visited St. Augustine and had Joffrey from the play pit or the sand pit, was born healthy with red hair, the color of my granddad's, and somehow wound up with A positive blood despite both his parents being O negative. The last person in my family to have A positive, you guessed it, my granddad.
That's interesting.
Yeah. One of the few songs that could soothe him to sleep when he was small was the Skyboat song, which was one of my granddad's favorites. I have to wonder if Granddad was singing it to him while he was guarding him from the exorcism. That hypnotherapy class also introduced the space in between lives, which is a whole nother amazing story that makes me cry every time I think about it. Well, I don't want to make you cry, but please send it to us.
Please.
Yeah. If anyone from Florida who listens remembers a 20-something pregnant woman bawling their eyes out for I don't even know how long after they helped banish her ex from her head in a hotel conference room in Orlando, thank you so very much. I have enough people of my own in my head. I didn't need her as well. Best wishes.
That's a terrifying story because that bitch was crazy.
Crazy. You have to do you still hear from her? Does she ever still try to reach out and be crazy?
Yeah, give us the deets, man. Fill us in.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Yes, please. Insanity.
Completely. Okay, Jen. Well, I have another one from Katrona.
Katrona! Mostly a Katrona themed episode.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is called Tarot Times. We've been talking a lot about tarot cards this episode.
How fitting.
So. Yes. Okay, it says, hello. Hope you are still doing well, given it's not been that long since I've emailed you before. We love it. We love it. It seems like just a matter of seconds ago that we read the last one.
It really does.
Okay, we were talking on the Discord about how I got started in tarot and found that I had a connection to that divination method. When I was in high school, still in the UK, a friend introduced me to a local New Age shop called Magenta. I had read a news article in one of my mother's magazines, which was an interview with one of Britain's high witches.
Ooh.
And it had filled a need I didn't know I had. And in that same article, there was a section about runes. So I made my own runes out of paper, but it didn't really click with me. Granted, it could have been that the article was not the greatest. But anyway,
fair enough.
The next time we went by Magenta, I mentioned to the owner that runes and I were not clicking, and she suggested tarot. She had me pick out a few decks from her supplier's catalog. When she got them in, I went down and decided which deck I wanted. My stepdad was visiting at the time and went with me to the store, and then we went to the local cafe afterwards, and I went through the deck of cards, this is the deck of cards it was. It was the Barbara Walker's Tarot Review Rating plus Card Images Eclectic Tarot.
Okay.
I think that's eclectic. I've never actually seen that word.
Eclectic? Yeah.
I've never seen that word written before.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that that's what that word is.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the story, but I agree with you.
If it's not, well, again, I can't know everything about everything all the time.
We try, but we can't.
We do. My stepdad was a little freaked out about me having tarot because of the devil connotations.
Ooh.
Mom wasn't too worried. She trusted me to have done my research, given I was a very logical, scientific kid, as well, and pointed out that my interest in runes had been all of a month. So chances were I was going to drop it within the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Before we left the UK, Mom had been convinced enough of my ability that she bought me a book by Sasha Fenton that covered deeper meanings of the tarot cards.
Oh.
As this was back in the day before the internet was really a thing and we didn't have cell phones yet.
Okay.
When we moved over to the US, there was a dock worker strike. So it was forever until we got the majority of our items delivered. But I brought my cards over in my purse.
Smart.
And so we would play actual cards with them, which generally considered a bit disrespectful, but they thankfully didn't seem to mind.
That's good.
Given the reading they did a few weeks later. We had an immigration lawyer helping us get our conditional residency after 3 months of us being in the U.S. She told us there were 3 adjudicators, and 2 of them were really nice, fluffy women, and another was a very stern, humorless man.
Shocker.
But not to worry, because we would get one of them women.
That's good.
Mom asked me to do a reading, and one of the cards which came up was the King of Swords, which according to Fenton is a very strict, severe type who is imposing and seems like they have no sense of humor. I was shocked, but Mom, when I read out the description to verify that's what it meant, said, "Oh, we're going to get that guy." My stepdad shook his head, given that the lawyer said we wouldn't get him. The next card was the 4 of Wands, which is a card that points to a good outcome. I pointed out it wouldn't matter because we were going to pass the interview anyway, according to the cards. So who cares if we get this asshole man?
Yeah.
We got a good outcome anyway. Right.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we did get the very gruff man. He sat at a practically bare desk with certificates of interrogations behind him and spoke very...
That's a red flag right there. If you work at a desk and there is like nothing on it, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because
like, look, this is on my desk.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
Just a random giraffe.
Yeah. I mean, currently my desk is pretty bare, but that's because I have been working out in my kitchen on my counter so I can stand up and get my steps in during the day. But I even still have like crystals and like a crocheted octopus, and I'm not even working at the desk right now. So if you have a bare desk, what are you doing with your life? Put some joy there.
And spoke very brusquely. We were there to prove that my mom and stepdad's marriage wasn't a green card marriage, and we legitimately could stay in the U.S. and wouldn't get shipped back to England. At one point, while we were doing the interview, the adjudicator actually cracked a slight smile
Oh.
And we were issued conditional residency cards and social security numbers.
Woo-woo.
After that, my stepdad stopped freaking out about me being in tarot and would extol the virtue to anyone who would listen. I like it when Katrona writes into us because I have to Google the definition of a lot of the words in her email, and it makes me smarter because, you know, I read at about a 6th grade level.
Yeah,
apparently.
If that. She's using all these SAT words in her writing, and we're like, what the fuck does that mean? But we're learning. We Google.
I love it. Don't stop. I love it.
Don't stop believing. Sorry.
I'm not going to sing. I've had some other fun times with different decks, and that one, which I just replaced after my son, when he was a toddler, managed to get into the drawer of my magical stuff and threw the cards all over the house before I realized what he was doing.
I want a drawer of magical stuff.
Same. When your kids are quiet, you should know something is happening. That's the honest truth right there. But he was my only, so I didn't fully understand that warning until then.
Fair enough.
Prior to that, they had gotten wet when a water bottle leaked in my purse and stopped reading forwards, but would read past lives.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
No, I didn't either.
Then there's one of my newer decks, which broke a tabletop RPG I was in.
What?
Playing an oracle character. One of my friends joked that I should use tarot in game because I was playing an oracle. The dungeon master came to regret allowing it. Wow.
I love that.
I've prattled on long enough, though. Stay spooky.
No, you can prattle on as long as you need to.
Please. Katrona, seriously, I find myself a smarter person because I read your stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of our 3rd Paranormal Postcards episode.
I love these. Please write in. I want all of your stories. Kevin?
Yes. Kevin, send us more. Birdie, I know you got some more. Katrona, I know you've sent us a lot, but I'm sure there's more from what we know about you. So keep and everyone else, keep sending us your stories, because while we love Birdie and Katrona themed episodes, we would like to sprinkle some more stories into them.
Yeah, even if it's just something really short, like
right,
something that you're not even sure if it was paranormal, but it was an odd experience.
Remember back at our first episode when Danny, our first Patreon, wrote in about the possible ghost tour guide.
Right, that was
that
wild.
Person like disappeared. She even said, she was like, I don't think this is paranormal, but it was kind of weird. And I'm like, no, that was a ghost.
What else? Come on.
What else could it have been? It was a ghost.
Right.
So send us your stories, please, because we love them. And you can email us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com. And again, I know we say this all the time, but we would love to eventually get to doing these once a month. But we can't unless you send us your spooks.
Yep. If you love what you've heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
It really does. And please leave us 5 stars because we're awesome. And that helps us so much.
Yes. And you can leave comments on Spotify now.
Yeah.
Please
and you can go comment on our social media posts, because you can follow us on Instagram at notmyghostpodcast and on Facebook at notmyghostnotmyproblem, Not My Problem, and comment on every week we post an episode, or we have a post that announces our episode. So comment on that post and tell us what you thought about that episode.
Please. If you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters.
We are actually talking about mixing it up and kind of doing some different things. I have some really good ideas that I haven't even shared with Kelly yet. So we're going to discuss. I'm not going to share them here. We'll discuss first, Kelly. Don't worry, of what more fun stuff we can do for our Patreon donors. So go join, because
Please,
you get some cool stuff and you get to chat directly with us.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
I mean, we're pretty cool. That's why you're here,
cool.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us on another Paranormal Postcards episode. Remember, as you are writing in your paranormal stories, keep this in mind.
It is your ghost.
So it is your problem.
Until next time, stay spooky.
And stay skeptical.